It's time to talk sports, it's time for the show. When you hear this song on the radio, it's time to tune in, better act fast. Let me get that potograph. Potograph, Sports Talk Radio. Starting now.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 190 of Let Me Get That Potograph. My name, of course, is the DH, and joining me, my awesome co-host, Mr. Scott Rappaport. What's up, dude?
Dude, I'm just riding the Domingo Germain train.
Perfect
tonight,
game.
Threw a perfect game last night, and you know, cards are popping, and I'm sitting on a boatload of 2017 update and Chrome update, which was one of the final years that it was not mass produced in like huge quantities. So I was going.
And when you were opening the most.
Well, no, that wasn't even the most. 2019 is when I was really opening
probably.
The most.
I've been riding the Gavin Williams train, man. My ECU alum getting called up by the Guardians through a one hitter at his second big league start. So
not bad.
Some attention.
I know. Well, I mean, how long do you think this Domingo Germain thing's going to last? It's probably going to be. It's probably going to be like a week.
Yeah.
And then we're going to roll. Now, I think I have a gold paper from update. I just don't know where it is.
You better find it and get that thing up soon.
Because the problem is that's not one that I pulled aside. At the time, and it's like, oh crap. The way I see it is, I got like 12 hours to find it.
Yep.
And if I don't find it by then, I'm not even gonna bother looking.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you on that one. But welcome everybody to the show. We've got a jam-packed show for you today. A lot of interesting stuff going on in the hobby. But before we dive into it, man, I want to talk about something that really pissed me, got on my nerves yesterday during a baseball game.
Drew, you're supposed to open that up with saying, I want to talk about something that really grinds my gears.
Yeah, here's something that grinds my gears. All right, so I took Jude to a Hickory Crawdads game yesterday, and this ties into a lot of how athletes relate with collectors and people in the hobby, and it was a really odd situation. We were there getting autographs, tons of people signing, everything like that. I got my picture taken with a couple people. Everybody was acting really cool. Then Maximo Acosta comes strolling around the corner. The only person on Hickory outside of Kumar Rocker who's injured down there that really is, he's got the potential. I mean, he's been up in the bigs before and has the potential to be there again. So obviously someone that a lot of people want his autograph of. Well, there's maybe 5 of us there, right? All autograph hounds, and then me and my son with a baseball. He walks over.
Just one.
Yeah, one baseball.
Okay, all right, cool. One baseball.
Yeah, one baseball. That's it. I didn't ask for anything myself. No. So he signs probably the 4, autograph hounds who have binders and, big 8x10s. Signs about 15 or 20 for all of them. Signs tons of stuff for them. Walks straight up to Jude. And, Jude puts his ball out, says, "Can I get your autograph?" He says, yeah. Let me go set my gear back down and I'll be right back. Runs over, sets his gear down, walks back out to warm up, turns and waves to my son.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Dude, first of all, I'm just going to say it right here. I know you're not listening, Maximo, but fuck you. But just if you're going to be a pro athlete, man, I don't know. It really rubbed me the wrong way.
So here's my thoughts on this, and a lot of guys do it the right way. The other guys that were the autograph hounds, were they adults?
Yes, one was a teenager. All of the others were adults.
All right, so here's what I've seen with a lot of athletes, the good ones, and what they do.
Yeah.
They will go to the youngest-looking kid first, sign his thing. So he should have gone straight to Jude, signed his ball, and then moved on to the teenager, and then the adults, and just going up. And if there's time, you just, the
sign
adults
for
are the
guys
ones
that have 800 things.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You sign one thing for each, and if there's time, you can go back through the line or whatever and sign it again. That's what the good guys do.
Right.
That's what you see, Mike Trout.
Yeah.
That's what he does. That's, you had a couple other guys that you had met, yesterday and gotten pictures with it. I saw some cool stuff, including one of
absolutely.
my boys
Cody
from right here in
Freeman,
Chicago. Those guys, they'll start with the kids.
Exactly.
And that's the way to do it.
Yeah. The walking back out and waving thing, kind of like rubbing it in an 8-year-old's face, was really like, I don't know. It just got me. And as an athlete, I think, obviously autograph signing's annoying and all that, blah, blah, blah. But you're an athlete. It comes with the territory. And if you're going to sign some people, take a second to sign a kid's ball. But don't rub it in his face or tell him you're going to do something, because he's sitting there all excited. It's the big guy on the roster. Yeah. And then he trolls him.
Like, what's he even doing?
My son was legitimately like hurt by that.
I mean, he might as well have just gone out there instead of waving, just grab his crotch.
Right.
Adam. That's basically the same thing. But here's the thing. What is he doing on a high A team?
Exactly. Maybe that's why he's so bitter.
I'd be bitter too if I made the show and then all of a sudden I've fallen so far down to high A and it's not a rehab assignment.
And was not one of the better players in a 6-2 win.
I understand. Look, I understand some of the guys, they get sent down to like high A for a rehab assignment due to like where the team is at the time, what the game schedule is, things like that.
That's not the case.
That's not the case. So, and I don't hit those guys about, oh man, you're all the way down in high A now, ha ha. No, you're down there on a rehab assignment. You're gonna, play a couple of games, and then you're going straight back to the big leagues.
Yeah,
obviously not the case here.
No, well, this dude's attitude's just like his game. It's a piece of shit in my eyes. But anyway, just a little story I wanted to share yesterday, and a big FU to Maximo, because just the wrong way to conduct yourself as a pro.
And speaking of, I'm going to say though, Drew, speaking of big FUs.
Yes.
There's one guy out there who has got a giant FU to Panini.
Who's that?
That is the guy that originally paid a ridiculous amount of money for the 2018 National Treasures horizontal shield auto of Lamar Jackson.
Oh, my God.
The one of one.
Yes, the one of one.
Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase that. The one of two.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Now it's a one of two.
Yes. Absolutely insane, guys. If you've not heard, like Scott just said, this card was sold. It's already been graded, BGS 8.5, I believe, and sold on the PWCC marketplace. Yet this week, Pull Bangers pulled it out of a box. Pulled another one out of a box.
All right. So
I don't even know.
Here's my thought. I took a look at the pictures of both cards.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they are two completely different cards.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no question. You look at the alignment on the shield.
Position of the shield, autograph. Everything.
Yeah. It's all, they are two separate cards.
Yep.
So what I think happened, and I'll give at this point, I'm going to give Panini the benefit of the doubt on it. What I think happened, we all know that Panini makes duplicate cards of a lot of those high value cards in the case that one gets damaged, and they can then apply the one of one stamp to it and replace the card that's there. 100%. And if for some reason they do not have to replace that card, usually that gets a white box one of one sticker or a black box one of one sticker, and it goes in the black box or a white box. Fine. No issues with that. Somewhere along the line, though, the second backup copy must have gotten the real one of one stamp and made its way into the product, because I don't think, my initial thought was, holy crap, somebody cracked this out, put it into a resealed box or whatever.
Yeah.
And, but it's not. It's two completely separate cards. And you can tell by looking at, if you compare the two images, they're two completely separate cards.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is, why would anybody crack an 8.5? Look, 8.5 on a National Treasures card, especially from 2018, is that is
it actually had some strong subgrades too.
Yes.
And once again, that's why it's graded by BGS as well.
Those thicker cards, getting an 8.5 on it, I'd be happy as hell.
Yes, it's 100%.
It's rare to get that 9.5 from BGS on the thicker stuff, especially hand packed.
That's why you see such a premium, especially on NT.
Yeah, but my question is, how did this happen?
Well, especially this is very important for listeners that maybe don't understand the box out process of cards. This is one of only a couple of products that's also hand collated.
Right.
This isn't a collating machine. This isn't where something was dumped twice accidentally. These are hand packed boxes here. We're not talking about the regular standard machine type of stuff. This is actual human beings watching over this being done, and it still happens.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out how they let that happen. Because
with such a big card. It's not like Lamar Jackson in 2018 was a nobody. You knew when you had your one of one NT shields that you were hand packing into boxes, this is one of the ones that was top of your list.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
It's not like it would have been in 2017 with Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Where, he didn't play the entire season. So you didn't know, he was a first round pick, but it's still one of those things.
You didn't know.
You didn't know because he didn't play. Yeah. So, okay, that's fine. Whatever. Nobody's paying attention to it. But in this case, Lamar Jackson was one of the biggest names in the freaking product for the entire season.
Yes.
And
this is one of his biggest rookies, period.
Yeah. There's this one
right here.
And this one and Flawless.
Yeah.
Those are the two big ones.
Right. So
it boggles the mind. And this isn't a recent mistake. This isn't something that, due to, not hiring good people or not having good staff or anything like that. We're talking about, this is something that happened in 2018.
Yep.
It's pre-pandemic. Mm-hmm. Staffing levels were fine. Everything, production was fine. There were no delays. There were no hurries to get out product or anything like that.
They were. This is when they were in the middle of really the beginning of their most thriving period before it got out of control.
Yeah, exactly. So my question is, due to the fact that the guy, who bought the BGS 8.5 paid a ridiculous amount of money for it, and now there is a second copy out there.
Yes.
What is Panini going to do to make it right with the guy who had the original one of one? And obviously we will always know which one was the original.
Of course.
But the reality is this box that just got opened could very easily have been opened in 2018. And this could have been the first one.
Right. Yeah.
It's all chance.
Yep.
It's just luck as to who opens what and when and where it goes, and we don't know the history of the case that it came out of, and where it was sitting for 5 years. But it just, with a card like that, especially the one of ones,
yes,
I could see it. Hey, there's a duplicate of one of the ones out of 49 or whatever, where it's not being watched as much. But this was probably the biggest card out of that entire product that year, because I don't remember any rookies bigger than Lamar Jackson in 2018.
At the time, I really don't think so. I mean, he was being compared to, really what he is, Cam Newton, but a whole lot better, and like he had all the hype in the world. That's why I'm saying this card, you would think of all the stuff in the hand collating area, this is the one that's being paid most attention to.
But I also want to know how the backup copy even got into the stamping machine, because they should have waited, like they do with all the other ones. They sit there unnumbered, unstamped, and wait until the one that's in the product has to get replaced, or they slap that white box sticker on it and use it as a white box card.
Yeah. Well, you nailed one thing big time, and that's that Panini needs to do something for the person who initially paid all this money for this card. And they also need to start addressing this stuff. Look, these companies get away with these issues and they never address them anymore. And recently, this week, there's been a lot of talk by some influencers and some other videos about, obviously with the ESPN article on breaking and everything, there's been a lot of talk on regulation and oversight and all this type of stuff in the industry. This is we let these companies get away with this stuff too much. Now, do I think this is some terrible thing on Panini's, part that they did maliciously, blah, blah, and makes them a bad company? Of course not. But you need to address the mistakes. You need to fix the mistakes as best you can, and you need to explain to people how they can make sure that this doesn't happen again. Now, obviously, this was 2018, so it's a long time ago, and it's easy to say we've already made these improvements, but I think we let these companies get away with, oh, they fucked up again.
Well, but here's the other thing, and I think this is going to be the telling fact on how it plays out, especially for the guy that bought the 8.5. There is a friend of ours who I'm not going to name because I know he wants to keep it private, who is in the middle of a lawsuit with Panini over a Panini Honors card.
Yes, the Brady.
That he paid a six-figure sum for because it was the Honors 1-of-1 Contenders auto.
We broke that lawsuit on this show.
Right. And that is still playing out.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a situation. It turned out the card had been trimmed.
Yes.
Even though Panini cracked it out of an 8.5 BGS slab. And look, they missed it. It happens.
Yeah.
It was graded a long time ago. It wasn't like a recent thing. They bought it back, cracked it out of the slab, put it in the One Touch to put in the product, and it turned out to be trimmed. Now, depending on how that lawsuit plays out, and I'm going to have to get an update on that because I have not asked this friend about this in a long time. I want to see how this plays out because that is going to set a precedent as far as Panini compensating somebody for their mistake.
Yep.
And that, that right there will either open the door for the guy who bought the 8.5 to go after Panini for a chunk of money, or it'll close the door on that person being able to go after Panini for that chunk of money. But this is not a situation because that lawsuit, it was cracked out of an 8.5 slab. So it really wasn't Panini's fault that it was trimmed.
Right.
However, this issue is 100% Panini, was 100% avoidable, and we shouldn't even be having this conversation because it never should have happened.
100%. I absolutely agree. And it's unfortunate that this did happen, especially with such, like I said, such an important card. I mean, one of the biggest cards out there for 2018 now apparently has two.
Yeah, it's a 1 of 2.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We'll keep tracking that one and, kind of go down that road. We'll get you some updates when they become available on it.
Absolutely.
But Drew, speaking of legal.
Yes.
So a couple of big things popped in the last week or so.
Absolutely.
And this does not involve Panini.
No,
it involves Topps and Fanatics.
Yeah. Yep.
So Fanatics decided that they were going to revamp the dealer program for stores. And they sent out a new dealer agreement, and I was able to get a copy of that from somebody, and it's long and it's full of legal jargon and it's full of a lot of confusing things. And it's also full of weird things that contradict themselves in the same freaking paragraph. Like the one about how, Topps, Fanatics, reserve, will tell you what prices to sell the products at and for the MSRP. And then you must stick to that and not sell below it. But then further down in that same paragraph, it says, well, you can set whatever price you want on it.
Yeah.
Based on market. It's like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Something doesn't seem right.
ChatGPT got confused on that one.
Yeah. And that's one of those things. But the biggest issue that anybody ever had, and it's not the fact that the dealer agreement requires a dedicated Topps section in the store.
Yeah.
So all the stores that usually separate by sport, now have to set, now if that's still going to be in there, have to separate by Topps, by the manufacturers, which, don't get me wrong, you can separate because Topps does, it's baseball, and then some soccer and, things like that. So there's a way to do it. Topps isn't really doing football. They're not really doing basketball. Panini is not doing a lot of the other stuff. There's a way to do it. So that one's not as big. But the biggest one is that the initial version of the agreement did not allow stores to break product and sell spots in the break online.
Yeah.
They were restricted to selling spots in their breaks for people that walk in the door.
And that's it. Yep.
And that's it.
No eBay sales, no more eBay, no nothing.
Yeah. They're also restricting selling to other dealers.
Yep.
Which I don't know how And maybe the big distributors have a separate agreement. Maybe Blowout, David Adams, Steel City, Chicagoland, those guys. Maybe they have a completely separate agreement. But I got a note yesterday from the guy that sent me the copy of the agreement.
Right.
And he said he was currently on a call with Topps.
Okay.
And they are making changes to the breaking section of the agreement. And they are now, because of the backlash, they're going to allow stores to sell spots and breaks on their own platforms, whether it's, could be Facebook, it could be their website, it could,
Well, see, it's funny you mentioned that, and they're going back on that, because I think that the reason that they put that in there and they made this stuff so strict, which was absurd, by the way, if you've not read this contract, some of the caveats and little things in there are just hilarious to me. But I thought this was definitely a ploy to, okay, you can either choose to break this way or you can sign up for our new breaking platform. And then if you want to sell it online, then you can sell it through the Fanatics breaking platform that they're going to have, because
but I didn't see any language in there that allowed them to even use the Fanatics breaking platform.
Well, I didn't either, and I think that's why that this was a way for them to probably say, okay, if you're a store, you can either host them in store or you can host them on here, and that's pretty much like an ultimatum for them without writing it.
Well, but they didn't put it in the writing. They they restricted it. Period. And I know that, look, there's a lot of the large breakers out there that are both a store and a monster, and like a huge huge breaking company like Leighton. Leighton's got a store, and he, and he's a huge breaker. Monster Breaks. They have a huge store, and they're also a large breaker. Badger Breaks, same thing.
Yeah.
So how would it affect those guys?
Mm-hmm.
And what I haven't seen was, do they have a separate agreement for breakers?
Right.
Which I haven't seen.
I haven't either. If they do, I've not seen it or heard a breaker talk about it at this moment.
No, and I will say that I have not done my due diligence and reached out to some of the larger breakers that I know to ask. I will.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. I think it's all going to be. It sounds like it's all going to be changing. It sounds like what the terms that they put out this week sounds like they're going to be putting some out next week that are going to be updated, and it's going to be interesting to see what they update, if it's more than just being able to host your own breaks, and how many restrictions are they going to put on that? How much control are they going to try and have over it when they pretty much just put out a terms of service where they controlled it almost to the T?
Well, I think they're going to put out as much control as they're going to try to control it as much as they think that they can.
Right.
The whole aspect of it is they are trying to control as much of the market as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And this was one of those things. Look, launch your own breaking platform. Cool. Got that. But at some point you have to let the market decide, kind of what's going on. If people want to, use that platform, fine. If people want to continue, working with the other breakers on all the other platforms and, things like that, fine.
Yeah.
If you want to, run promotions to, promote your platform instead of others and try to draw people in and things like that, okay, cool. That's your product. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you want to sell spots and breaks for cheaper than the competition because you're dealing with the wholesale cost, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that, the manufacturing cost, not even the wholesale cost. So in theory, the product is cheaper for you than it is for everybody else, and you want to take advantage of it, okay, that's fine. You make the cards, you've got the contracts, but you still have to let the market decide what they want to do.
Yeah, definitely. And they say that they're going to start these advertising campaigns and bringing more people than ever into the hobby and things like that. Well, in order to do that, and in order to be successful at that, you have to let the market have some freedom. You know what I mean? If you try and tighten it, control it so much, then no matter how much advertising, marketing, promotion you do, if it's not exactly what people like, they're going to walk away. You're giving them one option as opposed to hundreds. And so the marketing is completely counterintuitive to what you're trying to produce. It just makes no sense to me.
No, exactly. Now there's one part in there that does make sense, and they have if you violate any of the terms and conditions, they can't sue you, they can't come after you like that.
Right.
But what they can do is pull your agreement.
Yep.
And you don't have access to direct product anymore. Now, in a lot of cases, I don't like that, but in some cases I do, because there's when it comes to breakers, there's a lot of shady guys out there.
Oh yeah.
That you pull, some crap, don't send a card that's a big value card, or, you obviously got caught on video swapping, something back and forth or whatever. Now there's a mechanism to pull your product.
Yes.
Which is fine, which is great, because if we can eliminate, there's a lot of really, really good, solid breakers out there.
Yes.
Guys that have been doing this for a long time. Even some of the newer guys are really good.
Mm-hmm.
But there's enough shady bastards out there that, give
it's nice something can finally be done about it. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the one thing that I like about this.
Yep.
Is that, Fanatics will now have the power to, tell the guys that are scamming people or, swapping cards out, being really shady, that, hey, sorry, you're not getting product from us anymore.
No, I do like that. And, like I said, I have a feeling we'll see, an updated terms and services here very soon, at least from what it sounds like talking to you. It'll be interesting to see what those exactly are, but Topps definitely putting out some interesting new terms that definitely got a lot of people angry when they dropped them. We'll see how the update goes. But speaking of breaking and products that are going to be broken a lot soon, Scott, we've got a big release that we finally got the sell sheet and got the announcement for, and talk about disappointment. Topps Chrome swing and a miss.
Yeah, so big changes to Topps Chrome this year. So in the past, Topps Chrome has always been 2 autos in the hobby boxes, 5 autos in the jumbos.
Yep, simple.
Bowman has always been 1 auto in the hobby box and 3 autos in the jumbos. And then in the case of a super jumbo, obviously there's 5. But they made the change to Topps Chrome. It's now going to be 1 auto in a hobby box and 3 autos in a jumbo box. So aside from the disappointment of probably spending the same amount of money on a box, if not more, because depending on who's going to be in it, it's actually a decent rookie class this year. You are getting 2 less autos in a jumbo, 1 less auto in a hobby box. And not to mention, if there's a repeat of last year where certain cards forget to be, put in the product, and, they have to make up for it with things like silver packs and things like that. But forget about that, because that hasn't happened yet. But this tells me a lot.
Yeah.
This tells me a lot.
Yeah.
And what this tells me is that they are significantly overprinting product.
Oh, yes.
Because I don't think the athletes are saying, oh, well, hey, we want to double our print runs, and so we need twice as many autographs out of you guys.
Right. Yeah, no.
No, I can't see the guys agreeing to that. So instead, we're just going to cut down on the number of autographs that we put in the products.
And they're probably going to put veterans in again this year, too.
Yep. Now, here's the thing. So I would have been okay with veteran autos being in the 2021 product, because that was a terrible rookie class.
Right, yeah.
But 2022 was good enough.
Right.
Where you didn't really need it.
Nope.
Unless, of course, the veterans you were throwing in there are Trout, Jeter,
which was not the case.
No, not the case. Although I did hit a really nice orange Casey Mize auto.
That's cool.
No, not even remotely cool.
Yeah.
But it's, I'm saying that sarcastically.
Yeah.
But it's just it's one of those things like, guys, come on.
I know. It, especially with something that's a staple like Topps Chrome. That's the one product, and I kind of had hope when you saw Sapphire this year. They cut the print run, and made it to where you were getting more autos and more color per boxes and things like that. I was kind of getting the idea that maybe they figured out that, we can mass produce the Series 1, the Series 2, maybe make Inception a little bigger, maybe make some of these other products a little bigger, but some of the staples, maybe they were going to pull back a little bit on to kind of preserve that legacy and that strength and the value of that product. But Absolutely not with
No.
a showing like this. And I haven't even got to my favorite part of the set yet, which I'm saving till the end. But no, absolutely just ridiculous going down to one auto, especially when the box price is going to be at least what it was last year, if not quite a bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the good news is if you like last year's product, the prices have come down
Yes.
quite a bit, and there's still a ton of it sitting out there, and there's a lot of hobby shops that still have silver packs left and things like that. So
now they are bringing back the MVP program too, which I think is cool. So it gives people, keep your base cards, everybody, because whoever gets announced MVP, they're going to do the MVP buyback program again. And I do like one thing that they're doing this year with it, and they took 5 of the cards that were bought back from the hobby shops, and they had Judge and Goldschmidt sign them, and they're putting those in this year's set.
That's it. Hopefully it was the 5 lower numbered color auto.
I hope
instead of just 5 base cards, because that would suck.
That would, but it's still pretty cool to see him do something with it. I hope they do more than that, because they said they were going to be doing some really cool things with those cards. I still say hire Tim Carroll to make an awesome piece out of them with those. But, that's just me trying to get my man Tim some cool work. But they are bringing back the MVP program. But yeah, dropping the autographs, man. They're already doing it with Cosmic and Sonic and all these ridiculous offshoots. I was cool with Sapphire, but the dilution of the Chrome brand it's saddening to me, because it's my favorite thing since it's been invented, since 1996 football. Like, Topps Chrome has been my thing. I love it. And
everybody loves Chrome.
Yeah, and I hate seeing the dilution of it, but there is one thing I do have to say before we move on from this mess right here, that I can wait to see a fucking taco fractor, bro.
I know.
What
I saw that.
Taco fractor. This is not Panini with emojis.
No, or the toilet paper. What do they call the toilet paper when the crisis prison or something like that? The taco fractor.
Oh my God.
I don't know what to think about that.
Me neither. Me neither. Now,
the
funny thing is it's not listed on the regular parallels list. There's all the parallels, and then they say there is also a new taco fractor numbered to 5.
So maybe
no information, no photo, nothing.
No information. No. I get that, but maybe it's a card that folds in half. Not a traditional book card.
Yeah.
But maybe it folds in half, and in between, in the middle of the card is a Chrome Mini.
Hey, now see, that would be cool. I would still say, don't you ever name it Taco Fractor again, but that's pretty cool. How am I supposed to take you seriously?
With everything the way it is in society, and, cancel culture being what it is, and everything's racist these days.
Yeah.
How has there not been backlash on this?
I know.
But like I said, I would be cool. Look, if it's folded in half and there was a mini, of that card or whatever in the middle, that would be cool.
I would actually like to see that on Chrome stock. Guys, I know you people from product development are listening. Let's get in on that if that's not what this taco fractor is. Because it is interesting that it's not listed with the base parallels. So we don't know if it's an insert that's out of 5 or just is it a regular parallel? We have no clue what it is yet, but they're teasing everybody with the taco fractor.
Yeah, and we know that they can make Chrome minis because they do it with Allen and Ginter Chrome. So that they have the printing press set up to make Chrome minis.
Yeah,
let's see it happen. I think that would be a really cool idea. The card just folds in half as a mini inside, and then just call it the taco fractor.
There you go. Well, yep. So, guys, Topps Chrome, if you haven't seen, they dropped the autos. They've got a couple of new inserts, couple of new cool little autograph sets, and then, of course, the question of the taco fractor. And I'm just curious, Scott. And I have a feeling that these taco fractors are probably going to cost a pretty penny.
Well, especially if they're numbered to 5.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, who doesn't like tacos?
Right.
And speaking of tacos, you know what, Drew? I'm hungry.
I am too.
Let's take a break. I'm going to go grab a taco. We'll be right back.
And welcome back, everybody, to episode 190. The tacos are in our belly. We're all full. Wallet's still empty, but hey, there you go.
But we got tacos, so that's good.
Yes, but we got tacos, so everything is good. And apparently taco fractor soon. But guys, we're going to move on now to a big, well, it could be a big story, but it's a developing story. It dropped about 12 hours before we recorded today, Thursday. I got to give credit to Jeff Wilson and the guys over at Sports Card Investor and Blowout Forums, who initially, the Blowout Detectives, they do their thing. Well, they were scounging the internet the other day and found something quite interesting that could have massive, massive hobby implications, Scott. And that is that LeBron James could possibly be leaving Upper Deck as an exclusive athlete. On their website, Upper Deck has a list of their exclusive athletes. It always went Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and then the rest of the guys.
Yeah, Tiger Woods, Wayne Gretzky,
yes,
all that.
Patrick Waugh, things like that.
Yeah.
LeBron is gone from the exclusives area, but is still listed as an Upper Deck athlete, which obviously has led to tons of speculation as to, is his exclusive going? Did he find a way out of this lifetime exclusive that he signed with Upper Deck?
That would be huge.
Huge.
And if that is the case, we know that, Bronny is signing the Topps Chrome McDonald's All-American stuff.
Yep.
But if LeBron is no longer exclusive to Upper Deck, but he's still an Upper Deck athlete, which means that it's now a non-exclusive agreement. And that also means that he's not going to be signing an exclusive agreement with anybody else.
Right.
But that also opens the door for him signing an agreement with somebody else. So if this is indeed the case, and not not just some error that somebody pulled him off the exclusive list on the website, is it possible that we see LeBron autos for the next year or two in Panini products?
Yeah.
And following that, with the acquisition of the NBA license by Fanatics, do we see him in Topps products?
Well, that certainly sounds like something that gives me, or at least leads me to think that this does hold some weight is we're right at that time where we're pushing to the National. We're under 30 days away till the National, where we know some of the biggest newsworthy events in the hobby are always announced. What bigger thing for Fanatics, Panini, anyone to be able to announce than to say LeBron James autographs are coming? I mean, that would literally take over the National in terms of buzz for multiple days, if not the entire week.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what, dude? But here's the thing. We have an even bigger announcement regarding the National than that.
We do.
We're going to share with you at the end of the show.
Yes, we do.
So, yeah, keep an eye on that. But back to LeBron.
Yeah.
This has major hobby ramifications if he does wind up being able to sign a contract with either Panini or Fanatics. And I think Fanatics is the most likely one because they also have a massive memorabilia, operation and things like that.
Not only that,
Panini
and this is very key for people to know, this went very, very under the radar as it was just a normal signing, but Clutch Management, which manages Bronny and it's LeBron James' company, one of their higher up employees a few months ago left Clutch for Fanatics and is now working in athlete relations. So there is a literal Clutch and Fanatics connection already in place. That's already there. Yeah.
I'm curious as to how this is going to play out. But I think if it is under the radar now, I think that they are holding the announcement until the National.
Yes.
I agree with that.
If it was a simple website screw up or something like that, I would have thought with over 12 hours since, Sports Card Investor and some other major influencers have started posting about this, that they would have fixed it. It's literally a simple go onto the web design page and click the tile and click the picture, and then he's right back there. It's not like they deleted massive amounts of pages. It's literally a list of photos that scroll in a slideshow. All you have to do is add the picture back to the slideshow. And the fact that it hasn't been done, but yet he still remains on the athlete area, but no change has been made since all this buzz came out. Maybe they're just liking the website impressions. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the fact that they haven't fixed it also really leads me to believe that we might be getting a big announcement at the National. We might see brawny LeBron James dual autos. We might, that the possibilities are endless.
Right. Now, here's the other question. So if it's true that LeBron is no longer an exclusive athlete with Upper Deck, and speculating that Fanatics is going to make a major announcement about them signing him coming up at the National, and then obviously, having at their booth a whole bunch of LeBron James autograph stuff to sell,
right?
Basketballs and jerseys and all that kind of stuff. Does Upper Deck come out with their own announcement stating that he is no longer, and he is still an Upper Deck athlete, but no longer exclusive to Upper Deck, just to force Fanatics into making an announcement ahead of time?
Hey, that would be slick. Then that'd be something that I would do. I mean, if it's me, if I'm Upper Deck and I know that they're going to try and capture attention at the National, or feel that they are because they haven't announced it or anything like that, I absolutely would, especially if I'm Upper Deck and I have announcements of my own that I want people to be paying attention to at the National. Yeah,
force that announcement to happen sooner.
Right.
Like next week or something like that. And that way the buzz on it, has died down a bit at the National, and it frees up other companies to make a bigger announcement where now all of a sudden that's the one that's getting talked about for.
And it's a nice little jab at him for obviously stealing LeBron away. There's no way they didn't want him to be an exclusive forever. I mean, that's why they sign him to these deals. But one of the biggest things about this, man, is if he does leave as an exclusive athlete, it changes the entire LeBron hobby landscape, because all buyers, especially of high-end LeBron stuff, and especially the autographs, have known that, okay, well, after he retires, they can't even make cards of him in his pro uniform anymore. It's and they're done. And so there was this finite area where they assumed that, okay, well, once they're done, so are all of his license cards and all that stuff.
Yep.
Well, that won't be the case anymore. And it would change the entire market. And I would be curious to see, which we won't know for a long time, if this happens to be true, the effect it has on some of his early stuff that goes for insane amounts of money. Because I tell people all the time, outside of, the cards that it is, they doesn't have a ton of stuff. There's a lot of reasons as rookies and early year stuff commands so much value, was also because there was that finite time period where it was going to end. And it was going to be gone. But now that door might be wide open forever.
Well, but it also throws another piece to the puzzle, too. If he is not exclusive with Upper Deck any longer, that opens the door for him to be able to sign things like his Topps Chrome rookie card.
Yes.
And, for people getting an IP auto.
Yep.
As an Upper Deck exclusive, he cannot. He'd be able to sign an Upper Deck card, in person, but not Topps or trying to think who else was out there. Panini, who was out there making cards back then. But now, if he's not exclusive, he can. So the question is, does somebody, approach him and say, hey, we'd like to have you do a signing, and here's, 50 Topps Chrome rookie cards.
Right.
And now all of a sudden they get signed, they get sent off to get certed and slabbed and things like that. And they are, now all of a sudden they're worth a significantly larger amount of money because they're the only ones that are on the market, because he was never able to sign him in the past.
Yep.
So does that happen?
I know. No, I mean, this is much more than just will he have some autographs in a Fanatics product or something like that. This really does change a lot, because those Upper Deck exclusive lifetime deals that they put together really are very specific on, like you said, in-person signings, everything.
Yep.
And if that's taken off the table, man, what could happen? Who knows? But it is going to be quite interesting, and watching his market is going to be quite interesting. I still think he's someone that's smart enough to control it a little more than some people would, but they also don't sign those just random people to lifetime exclusives. So,
Exactly.
Yeah. But speaking of exclusives, wrap up the show, switch over brands here. We'll jump over to Panini. We've got a couple of questions going on and a couple of issues, and they keep contradicting each other. And obviously Select has a little bit to do with this, but dude, what is going on with the top quarterbacks in this year's class?
A week ago or 2 weeks ago, we would have thought we would have known the answer. But with all that's transpired in the last, week and a half or so, the only answer that we can give at this point is I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Everything looked like it was going to be those top quarterbacks were Fanatics. They're going to end up being Fanatics exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
They showed up at the Panini's rookie premiere, but only posed for photographs.
Yep.
For the cards. They didn't sign anything.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, Panini pops up on their website, a limited availability of autographed cards.
So Panini Instant has those up, but that's after announcing the Select XRC autos, which conveniently left all of them out.
Yep.
The autographs were Anthony Richardson, Bijan Robinson, Jamar Gibbs, Jackson Smith, Nujaba, and Quentin Johnson. That's it. So they left those quarterbacks out of the XRC autographs.
Yep.
Which people were chasing, putting in tons of money for. Then they throw Panini Instant autos up of these guys, a very limited amount. I think the base was 348, and then a couple of small parallels of Bryce Young's, CJ Stroud, Will Levis. But it makes no sense. So are these going to be stickers, and they were left over from the draft stuff that maybe they were able to sneak in before exclusives were signed? Because obviously the Select ones, they're not getting signed. But they're contradicting themselves, and it's having a major effect on their market.
Yeah, but here's the thing with those exclusive agreements. I was always under the impression that autographs that were, and stuff like that, and cards that were signed and produced prior to the exclusive, even though they hadn't been released yet,
yes,
were okay.
They are, yes.
But in this case, the cards were produced after.
Yeah, Panini Instant. Those are literally about to be produced.
Right. The cards themselves have not been produced yet, even though they're probably sticker autos, and the stickers were most likely signed prior to that. So this is an interesting one, because even though the sticker was signed,
the cards weren't made.
The cards were not made.
Yeah.
Nor announced or, anything like that. So if they did sign an exclusive with Fanatics, like everybody speculated, just given the fact that they didn't sign anything in the rookie premiere.
They didn't sign anything. They didn't mention any of their names on draft night social media, and Topps had autographs of those three quarterbacks up the next day, and Panini did not. So,
but here's the thing. That leads me to believe that, if there are sticker autos for these, if they didn't get mentioned in the draft night media, that they didn't sign them at the draft either.
Right.
Now, which would have meant that they, would have had to approach them to sign them prior to the draft, which, look, these guys are going to get drafted and things like that. And that's, it's one thing, but the cards haven't been produced yet.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that kind of perplexes me.
Yeah.
Like I said, if they had produced the cards prior to the exclusive agreement getting signed, then they can still be released.
Yeah.
But that's not the case here.
Nope. And maybe that has something to do with, and I don't know the wording of these agreements, but maybe it is actually boxed out cards, and that's why the XRCs are unable to have them. But Panini Instant and a non-boxed out platform, they're able to skirt some of these rules to get rid of inventory that they had. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make sense because you had to know that announcing this select XRC auto checklist was going to be the biggest kick in the gut. Cards that were selling for literally $800 to $900 are now selling for like $150. It's that big of a drop off, if not more, on some of these. So you had to know that was going to be a massive disappointment. Yet you put out the Panini Instant stuff. Maybe you're putting out the Panini Instant because that's the only way you can skirt the legalese in these contracts. I don't know.
But don't you think that Fanatics would still go after Panini for doing this? Look, you've got to assume that, because again, Panini's going after Fanatics right now for stealing the employees. The last thing Panini needs right now is Fanatics going after them for anything.
Yeah.
So you would assume that the people at Panini would be smart enough to say, hey, we want to do this, but maybe we should run it by the lawyers first.
Right.
And who knows? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Who knows what? Fanatics can really go after them for the dollar amount of the sales.
Yeah.
And that, and that's pretty much it. So maybe they're anticipating Fanatics to say, yeah, you can't release those because we have an exclusive agreement with these guys. The cards were produced after the agreement was signed.
Right.
And you have to give us, we're going to sue you for the proceeds of the cards.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is that's a drop in the bucket for Panini.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, the cards are out there though.
Right.
They've been paid. Exactly. They've been shipped. They can also, Fanatics could in theory file for an injunction to stop them from shipping the cards.
Yeah.
Or even producing the cards. And if that were the case, they'd have to refund everybody.
But they'd have to announce the exclusives first. I mean, my God, like this is what's driving me crazy is it's holding up the whole hobby. Like no one, like it's causing certain people like these guys.
Well, there's nothing to say. There's nothing to say that, if they do have an exclusive agreement with Fanatics, there's nothing to say that Fanatics needs to put out an announcement saying that, hey, these are our new exclusive athletes. Welcome them to the family. They don't have to do that.
No, I feel that's another national type announcement. I feel like that's a national type thing because it garners attention.
Yeah, but it's one of those, but it happened so far in advance of the national that I don't see it garnering that kind of, that type of reaction.
It all depends on the presence they're going to have there. I mean, we don't know and how big they want of a splash and how many big announcements are they going to make is what it's going to come down to, how they want the show to go. Do they want to focus around one major announcement or do they want to focus around because I mean, let's face it, they've got a lot of things going on heading into the national, a lot of changes. This is an interesting national because it's a very transitional one. This is a transitional point in the hobby.
No, that's true. But I can only see him making an announcement like that in relation to the national if those guys were going to be signing at the national. But they're not going to be signing at the national because training camp is going to be going on.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen.
Right.
And given that the speculation is already out there and has been talked about for well over a month now that these guys are exclusive to Fanatics, by the time you get to the national, if all of a sudden they announce, oh, well, hey, Stroud and Levis and all these guys, you were announcing that they're exclusive Fanatics athletes. Well, okay, great. We knew that months ago.
Right. Yeah.
That's the reaction that it's going to get.
Yes. No, I agree with you there. I do. But it is interesting because I've never seen a football hobby or a hobby time period where the biggest names in the hobby, there's so much question over them and what products are we going to see? And, when you look at price points on boxes, things like that, those select boxes were very, very high because of those XRCs. When those XRCs were announced, go look at the prices of select. It's dropped significantly. So
no, that is true. Now, there's nothing stopping Panini from doing the non-auto XRCs for those guys.
No. Well, no, they've got those. They're in the non-auto. They've already
exactly
checklist on that.
Yeah, but it's the autograph, pieces. So I mean, there's still guys chasing the low-numbered, non-auto XRCs of these guys.
Oh, big time.
And that's keeping the product high. But hey, I will say at least they did one thing right with select football this year.
What's that?
No more retail blue.
Yes, that's actually a parallel as opposed to the base.
I know, and I was all excited, and I talked about it when we talked about select Premier League and La Liga and FIFA, is that the retail cards were the same cards that you found in the hobby boxes, which is awesome. So guys that build the sets, aren't out there like, oh, well, I have to get hobby or I'm only doing the blue retail variation of it. No, they're back to the way that it used to be.
Yeah.
Where it's not a different, the base retail is not a different color from the base hobby.
And I do like also, they added in the 5th tier, which I hate, but they kept field level out of retail, making it hobby only. And I like that as well, bringing the field levels back to more of a super short print type of feel.
Yep.
As opposed to blasters as well. So they did a couple of things right, but the release of the XRC autograph checklist and then the Panini Instant announcement were within about 48 hours of each other. And just caused more confusion than ever over, are these guys going to be signing this year? Are we getting National Treasures RPAs? Are we getting Optic on card rated rookie autos? Or are we going to be getting some Fanatics stuff? Who knows?
Well, we'll find out as the year goes on and products come out, and it's
got to find out soon. I mean,
they're
going to be dropping soon. So
I know. All right. Speaking of dropping.
Yes.
So that's all we got from a topic standpoint today. However, we've got something I teased a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
As we have a massive announcement in relation to the National.
That we do, Mr. Rappaport. Guys, make sure you are following our Instagram and Facebook. Let me get that potograph, LGTP podcast, on any of the platforms, as we are going to be giving away 2 sets of 2 tickets to the National. So 4 tickets total, 2 sets of 2. There will be 2 different giveaways. One is up right now and goes through July 4th. The next one will start on the 4th and go for a couple of days as well. And then we'll announce those winners. All the information you'll be able to find on the social media on how you can win those. These are going to be in groups of 2. They are going to be day passes. So you can win 2 tickets to the National, and you have 2 opportunities to do it.
I like it. And in addition to that, I think we got Ray coming up next week, don't we?
Yes, Ray from Ray Schulte from Collectible Media, and one of the men responsible for making the National what it is. Without Ray, the National would be complete and total chaos. Mr. Ray Schulte will be joining the show here either next week, tentatively scheduled, either next week or the week after, but he will be joining us here very soon to talk all things National. But thank you to the National and Collectible Media, of course, for giving us these awesome tickets to give away to you guys. So if you'd like to check out the National, you got your chances. Make sure to check the socials and get your entries in. We will be announcing those giveaways on the proper day, but you got 2 different chances to win 2 tickets to the National.
I like it. I need
All
my
right, guys, that is going to wrap up episode 190. Before we go, I do want to thank our awesome sponsors, Game Time Cards, Zion Cases, Show Your Slab, Slab Strong, Denver Card Shows, stand-up displays, and, of course, Treasure Hunter Sports Cards, and, of course, Wax Bag Nation. Guys, we've got a lot of cool stuff on our road to the National. As I said, we've got the giveaways up now. Hobby Hotline every single Saturday. I'll be on this Saturday the 1st, and we may have a surprise show coming up here in a couple of days, so be on the lookout, as me and Scott got a couple reasons to celebrate, and we might celebrate with you. But another great show as always, my friend.
Of course. Got a couple more before you get your butt up to Chicago for a week and get to have a little bit of fun, for a couple of days.
Can't wait for that one. But until next week, guys, you know the deal. Keep ripping those packs, pulling those hits, and we'll talk to you then. Peace.